was a thunder inside of my heart. There was a wonderful pleasure, and like a stallion racing the rain, you rode on the back of my bike. I knew from the sound that you were saying,
Hey there, wake up. Look around you. What do you see? The sun rising up while the birds sing a beautiful melody, the moon and the stars up in the sky while it brings some lighting into the dark. When we look at the sky, we see different kinds of natural bodies like the sun, the stars, the moon, and so on. Natural bodies in the sky are called celestial bodies or heavenly bodies. They are part of our great universe. The universe is a huge space which contains everything that exists. It basically gave birth to us and will eventually lead to the end of all human existence. These events created everything we see today: time, space, and all matter, including humans, the human beings. The Big Bang was a massive expansion which jump-started the universe we know today. We pretty much rely on the universe and the way it works, but we don't know entirely understand how the universe works. That is science for, to understand evolution and believe in a better future. Even we are not perfect, keep thinking about the stars and how beautiful they are.
Science versus pseudoscience. What is science? Science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural world. We ask questions of the real world. Are aliens real? With science, you can uncover mysteries, such as the creation of the universe. Due to the fact that science is a method of gaining knowledge of the natural phenomena and processes that occur in our world, we question and experiment. We can cure diseases. We make new inventions that contribute to the future of our world. Characteristics of science. 9 main characteristics of science are as follows: objectivity, verifiability, ethical neutrality, systematic exploration, reliability, precision, accuracy, abstractness, and predictability. Objectivity: the ability to see and accept facts as they are, not as one might wish them to be. Scientific knowledge is objective. To be objective, one has to guard against his own bias, beliefs, wishes, values, and preferences. Scientific knowledge is based on verifiable evidence, which brings the concrete factual observations. Science rests upon sense data. The data gathered through our senses, our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. So we can observe, weigh, or measure the same phenomenon and check out our observation for accuracy. Ethical neutrality. Science is ethically neutral. It only seeks knowledge. Knowledge can be put into different uses. Its use is determined by societal values. For example, knowledge about atomic energy can be used to cure diseases or cause a tremendous war. Systematic exploration. A scientific research adopts a certain sequential procedure, an organized plan or design of research for collecting and analysis of facts about the problem under the study. Reliability. Scientific knowledge must occur under the prescribed circumstances, not once but repeatedly. It is reproducible under the circumstances stated anywhere and anytime. Conclusions based on casual recollections are not very reliable. Precision. Scientific knowledge is precise. It does not include vague information, but it includes exact quantities and measurements. Accuracy. Scientific knowledge is accurate. Accuracy simply means truth or correctness of a statement or describing things in exact words as they are without jumping to unwanted conclusions. Abstractness. Science proceeds on a plane of abstraction. A general scientific principle is highly abstract. It is not interested in giving a realistic picture. Predictability. The attempt to explain and predict as well situations. What are pseudosciences? Pseudoscience are theories or systems considered as having no scientific basis. It is often known as fringe or alternative science. It is considered as the lack of the carefully controlled and thoughtful experiments. Pseudosciences are only theories with no proof of existence. Characteristics of pseudosciences. There is no more to be learned. They fail to generate testable hypotheses. They fail to conduct objective sets of theory. Be no advancements of knowledge in the field, which is resistant to change. Pseudosciences are only based on dogma and uncritical belief. There is a suppression of or distortion of inferable data. Selective use of data, including looking only for supporting information, which means pseudosciences are only biased. In pseudosciences, ideas are subjective and can't be tested objectively. The lack of evidence is taken as support that a claim could be true. Personal anecdotes and events that cannot be tested systematically are used to provide evidence. Pseudosciences involves terms that sound like scientific ideas, but the terms are not clearly defined. Pseudoscience involves looking for mysteries that have occurred rather than trying to generate and test explanations for the phenomenon. They identify a phenomenon and provide an explanation that fits the facts after they are known. Lastly, it doesn't provide a means for making predictions in advance.
Some of the differences that are supported in both matters are focused in the following. The first one is in the way how a research is carried out to a specific methodologies that support a real and relative research. From this point, there has to be established that science is the only one who gives supportive information about any data or study about the real world. Meanwhile, pseudoscience does not follow a consistent methodology to support data. You need to know that the supposed research is a scientific and a very trustworthy data, and in reality it's not. Real-based explanations is part of the differences in which science combines to introduce any experimental or exact basement to give praises about any natural phenomenon, or may also be based on philosophy to argument about that phenomenon. But pseudoscience doesn't keep any attention over giving realistic reasons, and introduces not realistic or even though non-natural reasons to stand out a given position. Falsification is part of the context in which science does not get involved with, but pseudoscience doesn't. Anyway, for the use of this scientific method, some conclusions may be proven as wrong or correct for its immediate proof. Even though pseudoscience states directly into a position without overcoming any revelation to prove. Proving this as a very long way to state and defend a supposed hypothesis with no proofs, explanations to get wrong, and conclusions furthered as well. Another difference between science and pseudoscience have between is the way each other's methodology may predict sustainable facts over the real world. Science relies in many different persistent studies to produce testable hypotheses and take a determinate prediction as word. By the way, pseudoscience doesn't evoke any scientific or rigid investigation to prove a possible prediction or merely a hypothesis. From this point, the possible given hypothesis turn unworthy for its study. The use of anecdotes is one of the main matters that science doesn't take part of its regular studying process, even though pseudoscience approaches these anecdotes from one personal experience and camouflages as part of scientific knowledge, when at the moment it's on a well-structured scientific basis. These personal experiences tend to cause confusion if it's not doubted, or granted with a very deep study with a logical conclusion for any case. Debating and opposing for all scientific basis is one of the main purposes science gets to engage new roads to discoveries. Generally, what science does is continue rejecting every single old discovery to try to evolve and expand the normal view of science as everyone used to. But pseudoscience limits every single opposing try and conforms with the old scientific discoveries to subjugate new evolving ways to increase scientific knowledge from everyone else.
Pseudoscience includes beliefs, theories, or practices that had been or are considered scientific, but have no basis in scientific fact. This could mean they were disproved scientifically, can be tested, or lack evidence to support them. Typically, when scientists engage in research, they use a particular methodology to conduct research that is based on fundamental principles and widely accepted theories that allow for their research to be replicated, thus backing up their work. It's important to understand this, because pseudoscience tends to lack these things and instead tends to be based on misunderstanding of scientific principles and unverifiable theories. Pseudoscience related to space and astronomy. 2012 phenomenon. Expectation that 2012 will bring large-scale disaster or even the end of the world. Ancient astronauts. Proposes that aliens have visited the Earth in the past and influenced our civilization. Moon landing conspiracy. Contends the original moon landing was faked. Pseudoscience related to the Earth. Hollow Earth theory. I believe that Earth is hollow, at least somewhat, and it is expanding. Cryptozoology. The search for Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, El Chupacabra, and other creatures that biologists believe do not exist. Biodynamic agriculture. Organic farming that has some non-scientific method of crop cultivation. Mythical creatures. The belief that fairies, elves, pixies, and gnomes exist. Bermuda Triangle. An area where unexplained events like disappearances of ships and airplanes have occurred. Pseudoscience related to the paranormal. Channeling. Involves communicating with a spirit through a person. Electronic voice phenomenon. Used by ghost hunters to record messages from spirits. Levitation. Raising something and suspending it in mid-air. Numerology. A belief in a relationship between certain numbers and people or events. Pseudoscience related to psychology. Conversation therapy. Attempts to change a person's sexual preference from homosexual to heterosexual. Hypnosis. A method of deep realization where the subject is open to suggestions. Polygraphy. A lie detector test used to determine if the subject is lying by measuring change in some vital signs. Subliminal advertising. Receiving data through seeing or hearing, while not being aware of receiving it.
The classic scientific method has historically been present as a 7-step sequential process in the world of science. As science has evolved, we now know it is more cyclical than linear. This means that as an experiment is being performed following the steps of scientific method, we can modify the setup after a set of results and do the experiment again. A step of the scientific method. 1. An observation is made. 2. A problem is defined or a question is asked. 3. The hypothesis is processed. 4. A controlled experiment is set up. 5. Data is collected and analyzed. 6. Conclusions are made. 7. Process is repeated to verify results. The example of a scientific method is: Step 1. A rock sitting at the edge of a cliff has potential energy. If the rock falls, the potential energy will be converted to kinetic energy. Step 2. 3 branches high up in a tree have potential energy because they can fall to the ground. Step 3. A stick of a diamond has chemical potential energy that will be realized when the activation energy from the food comes into contact with the chemicals. Step 4. The food we eat has chemical potential energy because as our body digests it, it provides us with energy from basic metabolism. Step 5. A stretched spring in a pinball machine has elastic potential energy and can move the steel ball when released. Step 6. When a crane swings a wrecking ball up to a certain height, it gains more potential energy and has the ability to crash through buildings. And step 7, a set of AA batteries in a remote control car possesses chemical potential energy which can supply electricity to run the car.